minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello beautiful people, welcome to Bitcoin technical analysis with Bitcoin Gorilla, and today we're going to be looking at this price and get a brief overview of what is happening in the market, because Bitcoin seems to have made a major pullback in the last 2 days since the beginning of April. So this video will be like an overview of what we should expect for the rest of April to play on Bitcoin. I remember Bitcoin Gorilla, and we're going to start by drawing the chart on the weekly chart. So I'm going to be drawing the chart using the Bitcoin Gorilla box. So I'm going to try to get the support and resistance, the obvious ones in your face kind of support and resistance. So after drawing the chart, I would also like to consider the past, what happened around this range. Just a couple of support and resistance areas. So that's it. And I'm going to go ahead to try to contain the entire price reaction under one box. This is weekly chart, mind you. So the analysis, we're going to draw it on the weekly chart, and then we're going to use the weekly chart to discuss the monthly chart, the daily chart, as well as the 4 hours chart. I do apologize if this video is a little bit buffering. My network, I don't know, seems to be having a very low network. I've been trying to start the stream for like a few hours now. It's not been stable. My network has not been stable, so I do apologize if the video is buffering. So okay, that's a good box on the weekly chart. I'm going to try to make sense of the price. But first I need to get the area support and resistance where price is currently trading at. So this is very beautiful. This is the price contained in the box. This is the Bitcoin Gorilla box. I developed it myself, and now we're going to try to make sense of this box on the daily chart, and then we'll contrast it with 4 hours and see what is likely coming. Then we will round up the analysis with seeing what monthly is when we contrast it with what is going on the weekly, the daily, and the 4 hours. So I'm going to see if I can get a trend line, a simple trend line. If we can get a trend line they have been respecting, so we need a minimum of 2 touches for the trend line. So I'm going to start the trend line here. Why I am starting the trend line right here is because this is where the breakout happened. You can see in the past they've been sideways before we had that breakout. So this is where the breakout happened before we start the move to the upside. So that's where the trend line, that's why I'm keeping the trend line. Now mind you, trend lines do break easily, and of course support and resistance are constantly breaking because price has to move, right? So in my case, I'm treating support and resistance as an area. This is why the box comes into play. So if I zoom closely in, I see that we have like 3 touches, right? So this is what I'm seeing. We have a clear on the daily chart, we have a clear touch here, 2 and 3. So a clear 3 touches on the daily chart, which is quite something we should take note of, right? So I'm going to go ahead to see how this corresponds with our box, because obviously this entire zone is a support and this entire zone is a resistance. Just like this zone is a support area and this zone is a resistance area, right? So for the box, so we have 2 boxes inside the chart right now. So the trend line obviously is saying that price is on a support, but does it mean that price is likely going to make its way down to this 38k? Because that will complete the move, right, for the trend line. Now like I said, trend line easily break, so take note of that. Trend lines are constantly breaking. So I'm going to zoom back in so that we're going to see what is happening close to the trend line on the daily chart. So remember, I'm using the trend line as a confirmation because on my chart price says that this entire zone is support, right? It's support. This is why we had a bounce here, we had a bounce here, and we also had it a bounce when we were inside it. Remember, I drew this chart on the weekly chart, right? But unfortunately, if I were to connect this entire zone as another box, it means that there was a breakout here. So can we try to contend this point and treat it like a box of its own? And this box is going to be a little kind of like 4-hour intraday box. So I'm going to draw yet another box. This is for the sake of the 4 hours traders. So I'm going to zoom in to see the breakout. We want to zoom in now to get closer view of the chart to see the breakout, what really happened, and if it's going to play along with this our trend line and our box. So how do I treat that? So I'm going to try to treat the entire thing that happened here, the entire so what I'm going to do is this. To reduce the color, it's too so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to try to contain it in another box. So I'm going to try to play another box right here. Now obviously I don't need to draw this box, but I just want to give you a confirmation and explain what happened and why are we coming back down, because obviously this looks like a clear breakout, but somehow we have returned back. So the question is this a clear breakout or not? This is what we're going to discover right now. So I'm going to do this. hopefully you can see the candles clearly, so I have to zoom in. So we want to understand what really happened here and why price on the daily chart is currently coming back. So I'm going to use the chart, the box strategy to explain what happened, what took place at that range. So if you look closely, you see there's the resistance here have formed something that looks like a box, contained price around this range on the daily chart. Of course, this has been on for quite some time, and just of recent, in fact this has been on since January, February. So just of recent, Bitcoin made it above 44k. Now 44k range seems to be that troublesome resistance, right? But again, I wanted to explain something, because I wanted to explain why we're getting this rejection down. If you look closely, you see that here is a previous resistance area, right? So a resistance area that happens to be this, here is the support, right? So I'm supposed to hold on. So the chart, you see it. So I'm going to zoom in now so that you understand it, because when you're trading, you have to zoom in to understand the chart. So why I'm drawing these 4 hours is for the sake of intraday traders. If we look closely and we want to make sense of what is going on with this chart, then we see that this price is likely going to return to this zone, because again, from my drawing, you see that this is my support, the support area, right? I see this is an entire area. So you can see that when price got inside this range, chances are high of a bounce, chances are high of a bounce. So for the bulls to continue, they broke above the resistance, which is 44k. That is the breakout. 48k is the resistance, right? So when you break out based on price action, you come back for a retest. Now if the retest persists, my box strategy says that their previous resistance will now become a support, and this entire range is a resistance. So which means they need, for them to continue the move up, they need to stop at 40k, 42k, right? At worst case scenario, let's just give them 40k. 42k is range, is quite a good range, but the two candles here that we're seeing on the daily doesn't quite sing the same story, because this is a clear 2 bearish reversal bar, just like these 2 here. We have these 2, but this is more full body grown candle, so we take note of that. The first thing is that I'm sure is that price is likely going to return to 40k, 42k range. The way it is now, we're going to return to 42k range, and they could stretch it to 45k, 46k, 40k maximum. Now there they are going to have a chance of turning this whole entire downward spiral move that they are experienced in the last 2 days, the start of April, to change. Why is it possibly going to change? Because if we go to the monthly chart, if I take you to the monthly chart now, you see that we already have a reversal candle, which is a bullish reversal candle, and is the open of a new monthly candle that is currently pushing. So the beginning of April open with a push down, so chances are high is that they could continue the push up after a while. So they will likely not make it below this point. They will not make it, at worst case scenario, 37k. That is the last candlesticks on monthly. So their goal is to maintain a kind of bullish market structure of higher highs, higher lows, right? So of course we still have 23 days down to the end of the month, and if you look at the month, you find out that it is quite bullish here, 3-bar reversal, and something like that is already printing. And if we look closely, we see that on Bitcoin there's still higher lows, right? We still have bullish market structure, which is simply higher lows, higher highs, higher lows on the monthly. So the monthly, as for me, is still bullish on Bitcoin. This is just based on simple candlesticks analysis. So it's still bullish, especially with this particular reversal happening at a support range. Very interesting. But does it mean that we're going to see a new all-time high? Well, the chances are high that they could go up and get rejected and come right back down, and this time around they could extend their move a little bit down, but that is not something I want to discuss in this video. So I am going to go ahead and let's go back to the daily chart and make more sense of what they are doing. So what we are saying is they could get to this 42k and then push back up. Now if they push back up and get rejected again around 46k, then expect them to dive way deeper. How deep are they going? They're going to come to this my support area, right? Which there's no coincidence, it is the same area the line is. So if I zoom in, you're going to see the line. Let me zoom in. So if I zoom in now, the line becomes clearer, right? So the line becomes clearer right here. So it means that they could move like this. So what I see is this, quite very tricky. So I'm going to extend this box to make it a little more sense. So what I see is this. Remember, they are within my previous resistance. In the past it was resistance, but they have broken to it, so they are trying to turn that resistance area into support. So now that they will return to that 40k 42k range, if they return to it, I need them, they will actually bounce. They will even get a mini bounce, right? Their bounce is going to take them up. Now if they are going to continue this move, then 46k shouldn't be a challenge anymore, because they should just find their way out, right? 46k, they should just make it above 46k and get to 48k and then move toward 52k. But it's not going to be that easy if this sell-off continue. How will I know if the sell-off continue? Anything that breaks them below 40k, okay, let me give them a grace of saying anything that breaks below 40k, anything that breaks below 40k is going to likely meet the control line. So there's a control line at the middle of each of my box. So let's draw the 4 hours control line. It's somewhere here, and it's around that what. So this is the control line, and it's around 39,700 range, still around the 40k range. That's why I said 39,700. It is still around the 40k range. Or yes, this range is possible. Why is it possible? Because here's the thing: whenever price is above the control line, price tends to want to stay above it. Whenever it's below it, price want to fight to stay below it. So if price pushes and they push them below this support, their previous resistance now acting as support of 42k. Remember, this is how they struggled to get above it in the past, and it served as a support in the past. If they make it below it, below the 42k, then expect them to get to this my control line around 40k to that 39,800, 39,700 range, right? But then they will try to force their way up, right? A force that will enable them attack the 52k resistance. That is what I see. It will enable them attack the what? The 52k resistance. But let's just say where they are now, they will get a bounce. Though I do see that a little bit 50-50 chance, just 50-50. Why do I say 50-50? Because I trend line easily break, right? So but I am open-minded. I like when I'm analyzing, I consider every aspect that is possible. So I'm going to try to pick up the trend line again, and I'm going to connect this bias line, right? Hello. It's beautiful when I see my box and the line coinciding. So I just talked about this zone, the price returning to this zone, and you see the price 1, 2, and the touch is exactly around that same point. The same way the other one is exactly around this box, right? So you see the box is already telling me how far it will go. So they have a chance of actually turning right here. But when they turn around, if they don't make it above the 46k range or 46k, yes, if they don't make it above 46k and they get pushed back, then expect them to want to seek for a stronger support around the world, the 38k and 37, in fact let's call it 37,200 range. In fact, let's just be honest, let's leave it at worst 36k. I like putting it on my box. They could pierce that line to touch my box. So my box is saying 36,400 is the support range, right? So they could get back to that 36,400. So they could get that to that 36,400, and my line is just around it. So around this zone, they could get to that point. If but the only thing that this does is it gives them even more strength to then to attack this 52k, and they could even make it to 54k, a little bit above inside before returning, right? They will return again. What are they returning for? They will return to try to make this another strong support. That's around 48k will now be their new support. So the move on Bitcoin right now is one that needs a lot of patience because of the sideways market. They have to completely leave this range for price to actually get a good movement. So what is happening in this market is not a bad thing. Actually, I see some sort of accumulation for a recovery before further dump on the bigger time frame, right? But the pullback is on a daily and intraday chart. So this pullback is not a strong thing, because if I go to weekly chart, you find out that we already have the last we already have strong bullish breakout, right? So we see these two candle breaking the box and again breaking outside the previous resistance. But here's the thing, this current candle that is less than 3 days could push down, like I said, could push down. So let's this candle could push down to touch this tip of my box and as well as the trend line before they make it all the way to continue the journey, to make it into that 52k to 54k range, right? So this is what I see coming on the daily chart. Now this chart could take us a little bit system needs to understand itself and understand me as well. So I'm going to take it to 4 hours and we are going to try to understand what is going on 4 hours. So I don't need to draw any new drawing. I'm going to zoom in, don't worry. I'm going to zoom in so you're going to see the candles, because obviously it's not all clear to the eyes. Need to zoom in to get a better view. Good. So this, we are working with the daily box now. Remember, this is the daily box. That's what we are working with. So this daily box is this. I drew this for 4 hours. The daily box I'm talking about, we are working with entirely, is this one. This is the entire daily box. I don't know if you realize that I've drawn 4 boxes now. So sorry, I said 3 boxes now. So I'm going to zoom out so that you see each of them. So this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So this first one, this big one, function for the weekly, this second one function for the daily, and this one function for the 4 hours. So we have a 4 hours breakout on my box, but because the main challenge is on the daily box, because the main movement up and down is within this range, so that box is the most important box, which is the daily box. So the daily box already have the tip of the rejection. We've already experienced the rejection at the tip of the box, which means if they come, we're going to have our way down. Seriously, I see high chances that this sell-off could continue to push to this support, but we could get that pullback up. So I really see these bulls experiencing a dive deep into the box. Like I said, chances are high of a reversal here because they are still at the top of it, and as long as they stay at the top of it, everything is possible. It's just like the game of football. As long as these bulls, let me zoom, so that you get a clearer view of what I'm saying. So if I were to trade this chart, my chart will be zoomed in. This is how I leave my chart zoomed in when I'm trading it, so I understand. So this is the point of importance, right? Very important. Again, let's draw down our line. Right. Good. So you have a better view. So the thing about this is this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, right? So this point is very important. So I am not neglecting it because bulls have the chances of continuing their journey and push more up. But I always like staying open-minded. Believe in me, I like staying open-minded, and this is why I tell you I keep my mind open, in the sense that I will expect the bulls. When you come here, I want to see a change in the entire market movement and price, because you are on a retest, and I don't expect the retest to be deeper than this. But anything that start going in, I expect it to get to this point on the 4 hours. So sellers from 40k, 42k, in fact from 42k, you better start running, because they will soon reverse. But if they don't and the sell-off continue, then 37k. I don't really see this going lower than 36,400. Like I said, the box here, 36,400. That's where this box is. I don't see it going lower than that. So thank you for watching. I am Bitcoin Gorilla. I will definitely come and update this chart, and my network, hopefully it will be better the next time, and this video won't be buffering like this. Thank you for being patient with me.